Welcome back to Software Engineering Fundamentals, the Using Git series. This video number 8, we're going to be talking about branching. So what is a branch? Well, it's like a second version of your source code that goes in parallel, so we can make changes independently of each other. So why would you want to do this, or when? Well, for example, when you're doing a refactor, when you're going to be making changes that take a long time, that's going to make edits to pretty much all the files, or a lot of them, but really it's going to interfere with what other people in the team are going to be doing over a long time. So the only way to do that with one branch would be to have every other member of the team just stop work until you're finished. And that's obviously unacceptable. So branches solves this problem. There's a couple of commands we're going to look at in this video. Creating a branch and switching between branches. All right, so in the last video, we're only looking at using one branch, which we call the master, and that was synchronized through the cloud to other computers. In this video, we're going to look at creating a second branch. We're going to call it refactor. And so we'll create a branch and we'll show how that's pushed and pulled to other clients. And we're also going to show switching locally. So switching locally means that the working copy of your source code reflects what's in the branch. So these are going to be two different versions of the code, and we can switch between them very easily locally. All right, so let's get started. So here's the Hello World program we had before from previous videos. And as you can see, if we click on the project in the left-hand side navigator, in square brackets, you'll see the branch name, which is master. So we'll just put in a nominal comment here to indicate this is the master branch and save that. Now I'm going to not commit this. Normally we would commit this before we create a branch or switch to another branch, but I want to show you what happens. So let's create a branch first. The way we do that is right-clicking on the project and going to our team menu and finding this switch to menu. Okay, now there's only one branch here called master, so we're going to create a new branch. We're going to call it refactor, and we're going to configure it for upstream, push and pull, and we'll leave that as merge when pulling. And you'll notice I've got checkout new branch here. So that's effectively going to do two things. One is create the new branch, which is going to be based on the master branch. So it'll be a copy of all the source code in the master. It'll be identical initially, those two branches, but it's going to switch to the new one, to the refactor. All right, so let's do that. Okay, so you'll notice up here we're now in the refactor branch, as indicated in the square brackets of the project. And you'll notice our hello world file, hello world.java file, still has master branch in it. Why is that? Well, that's because it's an unstaged change here. And when you switch branches, it's not going to leave the unstaged changes in the branch because it doesn't belong in the branch. Let's just have a quick look back at this photo. So what we've done, we've got an unstaged change, which means we've edited this file in the working copy, but it's not in the staging area yet. It's unstaged, so it's not part of the branch. So when we switch branches, it has no effect on these files. These files are still going to be edited, so you don't lose your current edits in the working copy, but it does switch between what our current branch that we're going to be doing Git operations on. So effectively, we're now in the refactor branch, and this hello world edit now is really, we're editing the file in the refactor branch now. Okay, so you have to be careful of that. So let's just, to be clear, let's switch back to where we were, to the master branch. Okay, and do this properly. Okay, so that's a comment in the master branch. Before we switch, we should commit this edit. Okay, so we need to stage that. So now when I drop this in here, this is being staged in the master branch. So you have to be careful of, if you're working with multiple branches, where you're staging things and where you're committing things. So what we're doing here is we're just editing Okay, made changes to master. All right. I will just say to hello world to be clear. Okay. All right, and we may as well go and we'll just commit that. All right. Okay, so that's committed to the master branch. Now we should be able to switch to our. So to be clear, there's no unstaged changes now for the hello world.java. So when we switch this time to the refactor branch, which is there, it's going to pull up the copy of hello world that was before we made our change, because we haven't committed anything into the refactor branch yet. So let's have a look at the refactor. And this is an old comment that I'd made before. All right, so just ignore that. But you can see it's a different file. All right, so we've got a different file in the refactor branch. And so what we would want to do here is say refactor branch. Okay. Now we have another stage change here, which we can now commit to the refactor branch. So pretty much the same commit message, but it'll be for a different branch. Well, let's say in refactor, so we can distinguish those commits. Okay, so we'll just commit that. Okay, so now in the refactor branch, we have this comment. And if we switch back to the master, we should see our previous file, master branch, and there's our comment, master branch. So we've got two versions of this hello world.java currently on the go in two different branches. So you can imagine one is there and one is there. That's how you should think about it. All right. So what we want to do now is show how another computer can access these branches. So we'll just push these changes. You can push both branches at the same time. So this will push branch master. We'll push to upstream, and it's pushing to origin 14%, and it's pushed. So let's just have a quick look at our GitHub, and it commits, and we can see we've got made changes to master and made changes to hello world. We're in the master branches here. That's the first one we did. And if we change, we're in GitHub now. Let's refresh that. Okay, looks like we've only pushed our master branch. So if we go back to Eclipse, and what we'll do is we'll try push branch master and see if we can change which branch we want to push. Actually, no, that'll use the wrong metadata. So what we'll do is we'll switch to a different branch. So the correct way to do this is switch to the branch, to refactor. Okay, so we've got this change here that's committed but hasn't been pushed, and so we can push that, and that'll create the branch in GitHub as well, because this is a new branch. Okay, so team push, so push branch refactor, and That all looks good. Oops, preview. Okay, so so it's got in brackets there a new branch. It's going to create the new branch and push the current state of all those files to it. And it's pushing 14%. And it's been pushed. So now we can go and have a look in GitHub. So that won't be refreshed. I'll just refresh the browser. And now we've got our refactor branch there. So if I change to the refactor branch in GitHub, and we can see there's a commit here of made change to hello world in refactor. Okay, so it's all synced with the GitHub repository. All right, so what else can I show you? Okay, so we've pushed that now. Now let's show how another computer would access this. So I'll need to change workspaces. Switch workspaces. So we'll go back to our shared workspace. And again, this is going to take a little bit of time. Bear with me. All right, so Eclipse is starting up. Okay, that was quicker. All right, so now we're in our other user, and we'll just look at the source files to confirm that it hasn't got those comments. Here's hello world.java, and there's no comments there. All right, so what we want to do is a pull to get, so at the moment we're in the master branch here, which as you'd expect, and when we pull it, we'll be pulling all the latest, including all the branches. So we'll go to team and do a pull. And it's pulling. Okay, fetch result is master and refactor. So it's pulling all the branches, master and refactor. There'll be changes made to both. All the commit messages are there, and it's done a merge, automatic merge. That's all good, and we'll close that. Okay. All right, so we're in master branch, and there's our comment, master branch comment there. So let's go ahead and switch. So this is our other user, remember, that didn't do any edits. We've just got those branches from our other team member. So now, oh, okay. So we're not able to access the refactor branch. Let's see what's going on here, remote. Let's try, see if we can do another kind of pull. All right, so reference master. Wonder if it's just an Eclipse problem. Let's have a look at what's on disk. So we'll go to our shared workspace, and we should be able to run a git command line and list out our branches. If I can remember these command lines. Oh. So we're in the master branch. Let's try git checkout. So that's how you do it at the command line to switch branches, and we'll see if there's anything there on disk. Okay, it's branch refactor. So it has switched there. So it is there on disk. Git's working fine. It looks like Eclipse just hasn't picked it up as of yet. So maybe I need to close Eclipse and reopen it. If I can't solve this quickly in this video, I'll get back to you with another short video to resolve this Eclipse issue, but let's just try this quickly. We'll quit Eclipse and reload it, and hopefully it'll recognize the new branch. I should have actually checked to see if it recognised that after I did it on the command line. Anyway, hopefully this will work. So we're going to launch Eclipse under the shared workspace again. It's starting up. And looks like we're in the refactor branch now. So that looks like Eclipse has some problems recognizing a new branch initially in its left-hand side navigation menu at least. So perhaps a Eclipse refresh might have resolved that as well, rather than quitting and restarting. I'm not an Eclipse person, but there it is. F5 refresh may resolve that as well for you. You can give that a try. If not, then just restart like I did, and that should work. So here we can see we've got our Hello World program and the refactor branch comment is there. And just to finish it off, we'll switch back to the master branch, and you'll see they're recognized in the menu, refactor and master. Switch back to master, and we've got that master branch menu back again. So there you go. So that's pretty much takes you through all the branching and switching. And as a bonus, you got to see how the command line git works if all else fails, or if Eclipse has some problems. If you're an advanced user, you can fall back to the command line. And so just in summary, we've created a second branch represented in orange here as refactor. So we created it, we pushed it, and this one pulled it and gets a copy of all those branches. And so we can work in parallel. All right, thanks for listening.